Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So tonight we're reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, text number 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Manchayo Vyabhicharena. Bhakti Yogena Sevate. Sargunan Samatit Yaitan. Amabhuyaya Kalpate. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness in such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as bhakti yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary portions, such as Ram and Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his name is eternal, blissful and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means that the Lord is there and the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise there would be no meaning to bhakti yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus the qualification is to become Brahman, or freed from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmayeva san Brahmapyeti. One can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul.
Ir komentaras jo dieviškas malonybės eis į Bhaktivedanta Swami Šilos Prabhupados. Kas visiškai atsideda pasiaukojimo tarnystei, nenukrypdamas jokiomis aplinkybėmis, tarsi syk iškyla aukščiau materialios gamtos gūnų ir pasiekia Brahmano lygį. Komentaras. Posmas atsako į trečiąjį Arjunos klausimą, kaip galima pasiekti transcendentinę padėtį. Jau buvo aiškinta, kad materialus pasaulis juda apkerėtas materialios gamtos gūnų. Žmogaus neturėtų trikdyti gamtos gūnų veikla, užuot kreipia savo sąmonę materialią veiklą. Jis gali kreipti ją į veiklą susijusią su Krišna. Veikla susijusi su Krišna vadinama bhakti yoga, nuolatinė veikla Krišnos labui. Ji gali būti skirta ne tik Krišnai, bet ir įvairioms pilnutinėms jo ekspansijoms, Ramai, Narainai ir taip toliau. Jo ekspansijų yra nesuskaičiuojama daugybė. Žmogus tarnaujantis bet kuriam Krišnos pavidalui ar pilnutiniai jo ekspansijai laikomas pasiekusių transcendentinę padėtį. Be to būtina pažymėti, kad visi Krišnos pavidalai absoliučiai transcendentalūs, sklidini palaiminimo, žinojimo ir amžinim. Dievas mins ekspansijos visagalis, visažinančios ir turi visas transcendentinės savybės. Taigi, jeigu žmogus su neišsenkamu ryžtu tarnauja Krišnai ar pilnutinėms jo ekspansijoms, jis lengvai iškyla aukščiau materialios gamtos gūnų, nors šiaip jau pakilti virš jų labai sunku. Tai jau buvo aiškinta 7 skyriuje. Kas atsiduoda Krišnai, tas išsykis kyla aukščiau materialios gamtos gūnų poveikio. Įsisąmoninti Krišną arba pasiaukojimai tarnauti, tai prilygti Krišnai. Viešpats sako, kad jo prigimtis amžina, palaiminga ir kupina žinojimo. O gyvoji esybė yra neatskiriama aukščiausioje dalelė. Lygiai kaip gabalėlis aukso yra aukso rudyno dalis. Todėl gyvoji esybė pagal savo dvasinę prigimtį yra grinai kaip auksas ir kokybiškai ta pati Krišnai. Aukščiausias Dievas asmuo ir gyvoji esybė visada yra skirtingos individualybės. Kitaip negalėtų būti nei kalbos apie bhakti jogą. Bhakti joga reiškia, kad egzistuoja viešpats, egzistuoja jo bhaktas ir kad tarp jų vyksta abipusiai meilės mainai. Taigi išlieka ir aukščiausias asmens ir bhakto individualumas. Antraip, bhakti joga neturėtų prasmės. Jeigu žmogaus transcendentinė padėtis netokia pati kaip viešpatis, tarnauti aukščiausiam jis negalėtų. Norint tapti karaliaus asmeniniu tarnu, reikia įgyti tam tikrą kvalifikaciją. Šiuo atveju įgyti kvalifikaciją, tai tapti brahmanu, nusiplauti visas materijos nešvarybės. Vedų raštuose sakoma, brahmaiva san brahma pieti, aukščiausias brahmanas pasiekiamas tapus brahmanu. Tai reiškia, kad kokybės prasme reikia susivienyti su brahmanu. Pasiekę brahmano lygį, mes neprarandame savo amžino dvasinio identiškumo. Visada liekame individualios sielos.
So the Mayavadis, they also want to become Brahman.
Taigi Mayavadžiai taip pat nori tapti brahmanu.
But they want to be quantitatively and qualitatively Brahman.
Bet jie nori būti tiek kiekybiškai, tiek kokybiškai būti.
Which is not possible.
Kas yra neįmanoma.
Can the drop of ocean water become the whole ocean?
Ar lašas vandenyno gali tapti pačiu vandenynu?
No. But the drop of ocean water is qualitatively the same as the ocean.
Bet vandenyno lašas visiškai kokybiškai nesiskiria nuo pačio vandenyno.
So when the devotee wants to become Brahman and the Mayavadi wants to become Brahman, it's two different things.
Tai yra du skirtingi dalykai, kada atsidavęs nori tapti brahmanu ir kada Mayavadis nori to pačio.
The individual particle of the Lord can become qualitatively one with him.
Dievo dalelė gali kokybiškai tapti tą patį Dievui.
But he can absolutely never become quantitatively one with him.
Bet kiekybiškai absoliučiai niekada netaps tolygi Dievui.
The impersonalist, he wants to become God.
Impersonalistas nori tapti Dievu.
But Prabhupada explains it's to become the servant of God is better than becoming God.
Bet Šrila Prabhupada mus pamoko, kad tapti Dievo tarnu yra dar geriau negu tapti pačiu Dievu.
In fact, God himself wants to become a servant of himself.
Netgi pats Dievas nori tapti savo tarnu.
Krishna is the supreme enjoyer.
Krishna yra aukščiausias, besimėgautojas.
Nobody enjoys as much as Krishna.
Niekas taip negali mėgautis kaip jis.
But then he's noticing that his topmost devotee, Srimati Radharani,
Ir jis pastebi, kad jo pati nuostabiausia atsidavusi Šrimatė Radharani.
She is enjoying more than Krishna.
Ji džiaugiasi dar daugiau negu pats Krishna.
By being the devotee of Krishna.
Tiesiog tarnaudama Krishnai.
So Krishna does not want to be defeated by Radharani.
Taigi Krishna nenori būti tokiu būdu transcendentiškai nugalėtas Radharanis.
So he takes the complexion of Radharani, which is golden complexion, Goda.
Taigi jisai priima Radharanės kompleksiją.
She is called Gaurangi, the golden-limbed girl.
Radharanė vadinama Gaurangi, tai yra auksinių spalvų mergina.
So Krishna becomes Gauranga.
Ir Krishna tokiu būdu tampa Gauranga.
To taste the ecstasy of being his own devotee.
Vien tam, ką paragauti, ką reiškia būti savo atsidavusiu.
In this way, Krishna, who enjoys unlimited bliss,
Tokiu būdu Krishna ragauja neribotus kiekius džiaugsmo.
increases his own bliss exponentially.
Ir padidina savo džiaugsmą eksponentiškai.
Because it's more ecstatic to be a devotee than it is to be God.
Todėl, kad būti Dievo tarnu, Dievo atsidavus yra dar smagiau negu būti pačiu Dievu.
Wanting to become God, that's not a very intelligent decision.
Taigi, norėti būti Dievu nėra pats geriausias sprendimas.
Because the devotee enjoys more than God.
Nes Dievo atsidaręs, tarnas Dievo džiaugiasi dar labiau nei pas Dievas.
Plus, it's not possible. You can't become God.
Be to, Dievo tapti apskritai neįmanoma.
Prabhupada would say, well, if you claim to be God, I say you're... If you claim to be G-O-D, God, actually I say you're D-O-G, dog.
Šitą Prabhupada sakydavo, kad jeigu jūs sakote, kad jūs esate Dievas, tai būtų angliškai
There are many people
sako, aš sakau, jūs esate šuo, angliškai dog.
Many people falsely claim to be God.
Daug žmonių taip sako, kad yra dievai.
I had friends that used to tell me that. They'd say, I'm God.
Aš turėjau tokių draugų.
Good luck, you know.
Bet linkiu sėkmės jiems.
It really doesn't make sense. If you're God, then why do you have to go to the toilet, you know?
Iš tikrųjų, visiškai nelogiška. Jeigu tu esi Dievas, tai kam tu eiti į tualetą?
When nature calls, you have to run to the toilet and you're God?
Ir kai gamta tave pašaukia,
come on,
tu
you know.
kvėpi tiesiog.
It's ridiculous, you know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Labai juokingas Dievas.
But they actually think they're God.
Bet tikrai žmonės galvoja, kad jie yra dievai.
When I was a young spiritual seeker, that was the first books that I read, you know.
Tokios buvo mano pirmos knygos kaip jauno dvasinio ieškotojo.
There was a book called The Book
Tokia knyga, pavadinimu knyga.
on the taboo against knowing who you are.
Knyga apie tabų, žinot, kas esi pats.
The author's name was Mr. Alan Watts.
Ir autorius tos knygos.
So Mr. Alan Watts, he told us readers, he said, actually you are God.
Jisai mus mokė, kad jūs esate Dievas.
But right now you're simply hiding from yourself, that's all.
Ir tiesiog nuo savęs slepiatės.
All you have to do is come out of hiding and be God again.
Tiesiog reikia nustoti slėptis ir vėl tapti Dievu.
So not being well trained, you know, I thought, well, that sounds pretty good, I'll try that, you know.
Ir neturėdamas supratimo pagalvojau, wow, labai nuostabu.
Well, for a couple of days I was pretty ecstatic. Wow, I'm God, I'm God.
Ir kelias dienas buvau toks laimingas, aš esu Dievas.
But then I noticed things weren't happening the way I wanted them to happen.
Bet paskui pastebėjau, kad vyksta pasaulyje tokie dalykai, kurių aš nenoriu, kad jie vyktų.
So I realized it really didn't work.
Taigi supratau, kad šitas žinojimas neveikia.
So then I went to hear one Swami who was giving a lecture near the university campus.
Tada nuėjau vieno svamio paklausyti universitete.
Some Swami from one of these Indian Swamis.
Iš Indijos.
You know, with the long beard and the long hair, and
Ilga barzda ir dar
saffron robe, you know.
su šafranu.
Swami Satchidananda.
Svamis Sačitananda.
So Swami Satchidananda said, I'm God, you're God, we're all God.
Jisai mokė, kad aš esu Dievas ir jūs esate Dievas. Ir
I
mes
mean,
esame Dievas.
Why do they have to continue speaking all this nonsense?
Kodėl jie tęsia šnekėti tokias nesąmonės?
And there was another guru. The disciples said, oh, our Guru Maharaj is so humble.
Dar vienas toks buvo guru ir jo mokiniai sakė, mūsų mokytojas toks nuolankus.
He never says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am God.
Jis niekad net nesako, kad jis yra Dievas.
He only says, Tattvamasmi, you are all God.
Jisai sako, jūs esate Dievas.
So in this way, in roundabout way, he's saying that he's God, but he's showing that he's very humble.
Tokiu būdu jis netiesiogiai vis vien sako, kad aš irgi esu Dievas.
And the followers are so duped. They think, oh, our Swamiji is actually God, but he only tells us that we are God.
Ir jo pasiekėjai galvoja, koks nuolankus mūsų mokytojas.
So the whole world is being misled by these charlatans.
Taigi visas pasaulis yra klaidinamas.
You got the scientists are misleading in one way.
Mokslininkai mus klaidina.
These Mayavadis misleading in another way.
Mayavadžiai iš kitos
You got the hedonists, and it's just a big mess right now in the world. It's a horrible mess.
O dar hedonistai iš dar kitos pusės ir visiškas betvarkė gaunasi.
Therefore, Prabhupada says this movement is the gift to the world. You see,
Todėl šila Prabhupada sako, kad šitas judėjimas yra dovana pasauliui.
this movement is actually the greatest blessing on the suffering humanity.
Tai palaiminimas pasauliui.
And Prabhupada said that our desire is that we want to open the eyes of all the leaders.
Iš šila Prabhupada sakė, kad mūsų troškimas atverti visų lyderių akis.
So we want to expand our preaching to such a great extent that the leaders also will become Krishna conscious.
Mes norime praplėsti savo žinios skleidimą tokiu lygmeniu, kad visi pasaulio lyderiai.
That your prime minister here, you see, your members of parliament, they will all become Krishna conscious, wearing tilak on the nose. You see.
Parlamento nariai nešiotų tilaką ant nosies.
And we want to get Trump also, President Trump, make him a Bhavita.
Ir norime, kad prezidentas Trumpas irgi nešiotų tilaką.
And also that Putin character.
Ir Putinas taip pat galėtų tyloti.
Bhakta Putin. See, we want to make everyone Krishna conscious. That's our mission.
Tokia mūsų misija.
Because this Krishna conscious movement will solve all the problems of the world.
Nes šitas
It actually will.
spręs pasaulio problemas.
This is not some hype.
Ir tai nėra kažkas išgalvota.
This is a fact.
Tai yra faktas.
This Krishna consciousness movement will solve all the problems of the whole global society.
Šis Hare Krishna judėjimas išspręs viso pasaulio problemas.
It sometimes seems unbelievable because we have so many problems right now amongst ourselves, isn't it?
Kartais tai gali būti neįtikėtina, pasižiūrėjus tai, kiek mes savo viduje turime problemų.
But this is simply our immaturity right now. That's all.
Bet tai yra tik tai dėl mūsų nebrandumo.
But as our devotees become more mature,
Kai mes subręsime, mūsų atsidausiai daugiau subręs.
the impact our movement will have will become more powerful.
Mūsų judėjimo įtaka bus daug didesnė.
And it'll become more and more powerful, and eventually the whole world will be Krishna conscious.
Ir didės tol, kol visas pasaulis taps Krišnos sąmoningu.
There's a 10,000-year period predicted by Srila Prabhupada
Šila Prabhupada išpranašavo, kad egzistuoja 10 tūkstančių
in which this
metų
movement will
periodas,
inundate the whole world.
kurio metu po pasaulį pasklis Krišnos
So
sąmonė.
that 10,000-year period began 500 years ago.
Ir šis periodas prasidėjo prieš 500 metų.
So that means we are the pioneers.
Tai reiškia, kad esame pionieriai.
This is the early stages.
Ir tai yra labai pradinė stadija.
Yesterday I got a few days ago actually, I got some nice inspiration from my disciple Gurudas in Riga.
Prieš kelias dienas mano mokinys Gurudas Rygoje labai mane įkvėpė.
He told me the motto that Lenin, who started the communist movement and revolution in Russia,
Jisai pasakė man moto Lenino, kuris pradėjo revoliuciją.
he had a little newspaper.
Jis turėjo tokį mažą laikraštį.
And the motto of this newspaper was, "The flame flares into a big fire."
Ir moto buvo tenais jau toksai, kad maža liepsna gali įsipliesti į
The small
didžiulį
flame
gaisrą.
becomes a big fire.
Maža liepsna gali tapti didžiuliu gaisru.
So right now ISKCON is a small flame,
Taigi dabar mūsų organizacija Skonas yra maža liepsnelė,
but eventually become a big fire, completely engulf the whole human society.
bet ilgainiui tai taps didžiulė ugnimi, kuri sudegins viską aplinkui.
So it's up to us to become mature devotees,
Taigi, tai priklauso nuo mūsų, mes turime tapti brandus atsidavusiai.
so that we can represent Prabhupada, represent Guru and Krishna very purely in all of our dealings with everyone.
Kad labai tyrai galėtume atstovauti Prabhupadą, savo dvasinį mokytoją ir Krišną.
That will have a big impact.
Ir tai turės didžiulį įtaką.
Just as we become attracted,
Lygiai taip pat kaip mus patraukė,
more and more people become attracted.
lygiai taip pat vis daugiau žmonių bus patraukti.
We haven't seen anything yet in terms of growth. We haven't seen anything yet in terms of growth. It hasn't really grown much yet.
Iš tikrųjų, mūsų judėjimas dar net nepradėjo augti.
But it's very encouraging. I was just giving a lecture series in Pune, India.
Pavyzdžiui, Indijoje, Punėje aš skaitau paskaitas, mane labai įkvėpė.
For Mangal Arti, there was 300 devotees, about 300 devotees at Mangal Arti.
300 atsidavusiųjų.
On Saturday, there was about 500.
O sekmadienį 500.
On Saturday or Sunday? Huh? On the
Šeštadienį
weekend, there'd be like 500 people there for
500
Mangal Arti.
atsidavusių. Tai
Can you
ne
imagine?
Mangal Arti.
300 people at Mangal Arti during the weekdays. On the weekend, 500 people.
300 žmonių darbo
Amazing.
dieną.
So, we have a lot to look forward to.
Taigi mes turim kur augti.
Chant your rounds nicely.
Kartokit savo vardus.
Strictly follow the regulated principles.
Griežtai siekite religityviais principais.
Read Prabhupada's books.
Ir skaitykite Šilos
Follow
Prabhupados.
Prabhupada's books.
Siekite tomis knygomis.
Distribute Prabhupada's books.
Platinkite.
Go on Harinam.
Eikite Harinamą.
Distribute Prashadam. Cultivate people. This is a huge revolution that's taking off right now. Huge
Kultivuokite
revolution.
prasadą ir kultivuokite žmonės. Tokiu būdu vyks didžiulė revoliucija.
And we're the lucky people that just like Ram engaged the monkeys.
Lygiai taip pat kaip Rama užėmė beždžionės,
We're Prabhupada's monkeys.
mes irgi esame Prabhupados beždžionės.
He's engaging us monkeys to help him save the world, you
Jis
see.
mus beždžionės užima, kad
We're very fortunate. Prabhupada's monkeys.
mes esame sėkmingos beždžionės.
So maybe there's some questions, I can try to answer them.
Taigi, galbūt yra klausimų, kuriuos galėčiau atsakyti.
Yes.
You mentioned in the lecture about these Mayavadis that they play hide and seek with themselves. And how to defend this argument from Mayavadis when they say that in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying that only fools try to know me fully because I don't know myself fully. So how to defend this argument?
So what is the verse?
What is the verse? Don't remember.
One could say, well, because Krishna doesn't fully know himself, then we can't know him either. Is that the argument?
Kartais argumentą duoda Mayavadžiai, kad Krishna, Bhagavad Gita sako, kad pilnai net aš pats savęs nepažįstu.
Actually, Krishna does fully know himself.
Iš tikrųjų, Krishna save pažįsta pilnai.
But then, as soon as he fully knows himself,
Bet kas nutinka, kai jisai save pilnai pažįsta?
because his glories, his qualities are expanding exponentially at every nanosecond,
Kadangi jo šlovė ir savybės plečiasi eksponentiškai kiekvieną nanosekundę.
he is again fallen behind his own understanding of himself.
Kai jis tik save pažįsta, per tą laiką jau jo šlovė dar daugiau prasiplečia.
In other words, Krishna is becoming more Krishna conscious at every minute.
Tariant, net pats Krishna plečia savo Krishna sąmonę.
Krishna's Krishna consciousness is ever expanding also.
Krishna's Krishna sąmonė irgi auga.
Because his qualities, his glories, his leelas, they're expanding, and he has to constantly catch up with his own ever-expanding glories.
Nes jo šlovė pastoviai plečiasi ir jis pats turi vytis, kad ją visą pažintų.
So Krishna does for a moment fully understand himself.
Taigi, akimirkai Krishna supranta.
But then again, he does not. He has to catch up again.
O kitą sekundę jisai dar paauga ir vėl turi save suprasti.
So these Mayavadis, they don't even realize that they're Krishna's servants.
Taigi, Mayavadžiai net nesupranta, kad yra Krishnos tarnai.
They think that everything is Krishna. They have no idea that there's an individual personality there.
Jie galvoja, kad viskas yra Krishna ir neturi tokio supratimo, kad
they're completely in the darkness of ignorance.
Tai yra neišmanimas.
Does that answer your question?
Ar tai atsako jūsų klausimą?
Yeah, questions more?
Dar klausimų?
Yeah. Wait for the mic.
Is there a way to know if one's determination has become unfailing? Unfailing.
Unbending?
Unfailing.
Unvedic?
Failing.
Unfading.
Failing.
Yeah, unfailing. Okay.
Kaip žinoti, kad mano motivacija yra nenutrūkstanti?
When you become steady,
Spirimas.
when you become steady and you're steadily absorbed in Krishna consciousness, with your every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances, then you have achieved the platform of unfailing determination.
Kai tu visiškai stabiliai kiekvieną akimirką savo mintis, žodžius ir veiksmus nukreipi patenkinti Krishna, tai reiškia visiškai pasiekia stabilumą savo ryžto.
So get there as soon as possible, okay?
Kuo greičiau ten ir keliauk.
Don't mess around with the material nature.
Su materialia gamta geriau neprasidėk.
You must become steadily absorbed in Krishna consciousness with every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances. Never deviating.
Pasinėręs į Krishnos sąmonę kiekvieną
And
akimirką.
every time you notice you're deviating, you have to get yourself back on the track.
Kiekvieną akimirką, kai tavo protas nukrypsta į šoną, turi jį
It's
grąžinti.
like Krishna says in the Gita.
Tavo
He said,
Krishna,
Yato nischalati manaschantalamashtaram tatastatam niyamyatad atmanyeva vishamnaya. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self.
Kad ir kur protas dėl savo nepastovios prigimties nukryptų, žmogus turi jį grąžinti į savęs pažinimą.
It's like a mother training a child, you
Lygiai
see.
kaip mama moko vaiką.
Right now, your mind is like a naughty child.
Tavo protas yra kaip padūkęs vaikas.
But you have to be like the mother, the intelligence is the mother, you see.
O intelektas yra kaip mama.
You have to use your intelligence and not be a slave of your mind.
Turi turi naudoti savo intelektą, kad nebūtum savo proto vergu.
In this way you can train your mind how to become an obedient servant.
Ir tokiu būdu išmokinti savo protą, kaip būti paklusniu tarnu.
Present moment, your mind is your worst enemy.
Nes šiuo metu tavo protas yra tavo
But if you
priešas.
intelligently keep watch on your mind to see when it's proper and when it's not proper, and always bring it back when it's not proper,
Bet jeigu intelektualiai stebėsi savo protą ir kiekvieną kartą jį pataisysi, kai jis nukryps,
then gradually you'll train the mind and it will become your best friend.
palaipsniui jį išauklėsi ir jis taps tavo geriausiu draugu.
So now you got to work really hard to keep your mind under control.
Ir reikia sunkiai dirbti, kad protą kontroliuotų.
24/7, wherever you are.
Pastoviai 24 valandas.
Whether you're taking a shower,
Ar duše tu būsi,
whether you're walking down the street,
ar gatvėj tu,
whether you're working a job,
ar darbė dirbi,
whether you're with your parents,
ar būtum
whether
su
you're at
savo
the temple,
tėvais, ar
wherever
šventykloje.
you are, you have to keep your mind fixed in Krishna consciousness.
Kad ir kur jau būtum, turi savo protą laikyti Krišnos sąmonėje.
And you have to always keep a watchful eye. Is my Krishna conscious now or not?
Ir kiekvieną akimirką stebėti, kad jisai iš tos sąmonės
And if
nenukryptų.
you notice that you're not Krishna conscious, you have to do something to get back on track.
Ir jeigu pastebėjai, kad protas nebe Krišnos sąmonė, reikia
Like
kažką daryti.
pick up one of Prabhupada's books, read a purport,
Pavyzdžiui, paskaityti Šilos
or chant the Hare Krishna mantra,
Arba pakartoti Hare Krishna mantrą.
or take some prasadam,
Arba valgyti prasadą.
or beg Krishna to help you get fixed back once again in Krishna consciousness.
Arba melsti Krišnos, kad padėtų grįžti Krišnos sąmonę.
So if you in this way, if you practice diligently, you'll become a very fixed up Vaishnava.
Ir jeigu tokiu būdu
You become a
labai
Goswami.
rimtai praktikuosi, tapsi Gosvami.
Okay?
A gerai.
Next. Yeah.
Noriu paklausti mokytojų, kiek yra svarbu reguliariai kasdieną paskaityti Šilos Prabhupados knygą, nes reali statistika, kad ISKCON atsidavusiai gal tik tai kas 20 ją paskaito reguliariai. There is an official statistic that ISKCON devotees, maybe only 5% of them every day regularly read Prabhupada book. So I want to ask how it is important.
How can they be ISKCON devotees if they're not reading the books?
They don't tell to anyone.
They're not really ISKCON devotees if they're not reading the books.
Jeigu jie neskaito šių knygų, tai jie nėra ISKCON'as.
They're pseudo ISKCON devotees. They're not real ISKCON devotees.
Before, they said, oh, I already read once, little bit, that's enough for me. I want to ask how much it is important every day to read. And what's
Prabhupada said we should always be studying.
Šil Prabhupada sakė, mes nuolat turim studijuoti.
So it's something you should do as much as possible every day.
Taigi reikia kiekvieną dieną kiek įmanoma daugiau studijuoti.
Prabhupada says every one of my followers has to read all of my books or they will fall down.
Šil Prabhupada sakė, kad visi mano mokiniai turi, mano pasiekėjai perskaityti visas knygas, kitaip nupuls.
Right there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita purport.
Ir tai yra pašta Chaitanya Charitamritos komentarė.
So everybody has to read as much as possible every day.
Taigi kiekvieną dieną reikia skaityti kiek įmanoma daugiau.
Read all the books
Perskaityti visas Prabhupados knygas.
again and again and again.
Vėl ir vėl.
Next.
Kitas klausimas.
Now we have a question coming in from India.
Iš Indijos turim klausimą.
A disciple of mine called Hare Krishna Das.
Hare Krishna Das klausimą.
Nice name, Hare Krishna Das.
Labai gražus vardas.
How to carry over the morning Krishna conscious sadhana mood throughout the day.
Kaip išlaikyti visą dieną tą ryte įgytą Krishna sąmonės sadhanos nuotaiką?
He's all fired up from the morning program, you see.
Ryte jis įsikvėpęs yra.
Actually, it means he has a morning program at home. He and his wife are both my disciples. That means they must have a nice little morning program at home.
Reiškia, namie su žmona turi rytinę programą.
And he gets completely blissed out in Krishna consciousness. They're both medical doctors and they have to go to work, you see.
Jie buvo medikai ir ryte, jie turi tokią ekstatinę
So
programą.
that mood that he feels it goes down through the day, the mood of bhakti.
Ir jis paimta, kad dienos bėgė ta bhakti nuotaika kažkur
So
įsisklaido.
he wants to know, how can I keep that mood?
Ir jis klausia, kaip tą nuotaiką išlaikyti.
Well, it's pretty simple.
Paprasta.
Just beg Krishna.
Paprašyk Krišnos.
My dear Lord, please help me. I can keep this mood of like I have in the morning. Help! I always just keep begging Krishna for him.
Tiesiog nuolat vėl ir vėl melsti Krišnos. Krishna, leisk man
You
išlaikyti
can
tą
pray
nuotaiką
directly and
visą
ask
dieną.
Krishna, help me keep this mood, my dear Lord.
Tiesiog kreipkis pas Krishna.
Or you can chant.
Arba galit kartuot.
But if you have that mood of understanding that it's only by the mercy of Krishna and Guru that you can have that mood, and just always begging Guru and Krishna to help you be in that mood, that begging attitude will enable you to train yourself to always be in that mood.
Nes svarbiausia yra suprasti, kad tik Guru ir Krishnos malonė tu gali turėti tą nuotaiką. Ir jeigu turėsi pastovi tokią maldos nuotaiką, šitą nuotaiką galins tave turėti šią nuotaiką visą dieną.
Another question now from, no question there, just obeisances. Okay, yes,
Isn't
please.
the begging mood and prayerful mood is the morning sadhana, continuous?
Absolutely.
Tai ar nėra taip, kad šita nuotaika tai ir bus mūsų rytinės sadhanos tęstinumas?
As Guru Mataji pointed out, that is the mood of in the morning. We're begging for the mercy, begging. And that's what's so enlivening, to be in that mood of a beggar.
Lygiai tą patį mes darom visą rytą, mes meldžiam. Ir tai mus ir įkvepia ir
Calling out for the mercy.
Kad mes šaukiamės malonės.
It's like we sing Gravastakam,
Kai mes dainuojam Gurvaštakam.
How the spiritual master delivering the fallen souls, and I offer my obeisances unto him. So we're just calling out and begging to be delivered from our entanglement within the material nature.
Mes lenkiame savo dvasinių mokytojų ir šlovinam jo nuostabias savybės ir prašom, kad jis mus išvaduotų.
Now, here's a question from my disciple in Kashmir.
Yra klausimas iš Kašmyro.
Just a newly initiated disciple in Kashmir. Yesterday, a young devotee boy from our local residence lost his life in a road accident.
Vakar jaunas atsidavęs avarijos metu žuvo.
Really sorry to hear that. Oh, Krishna. He wasn't very serious in devotional activities, but he used to come and participate in the kirtans.
Jis nebuvo labai rimtas savo tarnystėje, bet ateidavo į kirtanus.
So how will this kind of service help him?
Kaip šita tarnystė jam padėjo?
Well, if he had a taste for kirtan, Krishna will give him a chance to come back again and do kirtan in his next life.
Jeigu jis turėjo skonį kirtanui, tai Krishna sudarys jam sąlygas ir kitą gyvenimą ateiti kirtanus.
So to have a taste for kirtan is very helpful.
Taigi tai labai padeda, kada turime
Even if you're not very serious and you're not following all the principles yet, but if you can somehow come and have a taste for the kirtan, at least you'll come back and be able to do kirtan in your next life also.
Jeigu galbūt jisai dar nesiekė principais, bet turėjo skonį kirtanui, tai turės tokią galimybę.
Of course, if you're very sinful, you might come back as a dog and hear the kirtan.
Aišku, jis buvo labai nuodėmingas. Gali tai būti, kad gims
So,
ir galės klausyti
if you're
kirtanų.
addicted to all kinds of sinful activities, you might come back as the dog who's kirtan, and he lives near the temple, some dog near the temple.
Kartais būna kažkokie, tai pavyzdžiui, šunys prie šventyklos, kurie gali girdėti kirtanus.
So therefore, one should give up sinful activities.
Todėl reikėtų atmesti nuodėmingą veiklą.
If you have an addiction for illicit sex, media intoxication, and gambling, that can oblige you to take an animal body in your next life.
Jeigu turite prisirišimą nesekti keturiais religityviaisiais principais, tai gali jūs nuvesti į gyvūnų karalystę kitą gyvenimą.
So, yes.
How does this work? When in chapter 2, Lord Krishna says, this devotion can save one at the time of even the greatest danger, even a little bit performed, from gliding down to the lower species.
Yra klausimas, kaip tai veikia, kad Krishna Bhagavad Gitoje sako, kad net menkiausia tarnystė išgelbėjo nuo didžiausio pavojaus mūsų.
So the question is, if one does a little service now, they protect it and become an animal in their next life. That's the question.
Tai klausimas yra, jeigu mes atlikome bent truputėlį tarnystės ir būsime apsaugoti,
But look at Bharat Maharaj, he became a deer.
Gyvūnų. Bet pažiūrėkite į Bharatą Maharadžą, jisai
So,
tarnystės ir jisai gimė gyvūnų.
someone they think, well, I went to the temple and I gave a donation, so I'm covered. Don't have to worry about it. I can go ahead and sin. At least I'll be a human being in my next life.
Jei kas nors gali pagalvoti, aš buvau šventykloje, paukojau tenais kažką, tai taigi kitą gyvenimą.
I went to the temple and I gave €5 in the box, so now I can have illicit sex, I can eat meat, but guaranteed to be at least a human being in my next life. I gave €5. I mean, there's actually a joke in that connection. There was one man, he was a Christian. He actually really wasn't a Christian, but he heard that if you... how Jesus would save you, you see.
Ir girdėjo, kad Jėzus išgelbės tave.
So he went to the church and he gave Christian church. He gave $5 in the collection plate on Sunday.
Taigi nuėjo bažnyčiai ir 5 eurus paaukojo.
And so at the time of death,
Ir mirties akimirką
the Yamadutas came
atėjo
and he said, well, you know, but I gave $5 in church. How you can take me to hell? I gave $5 in
ir
church.
sakau, neimkit manęs į pragarą, jūs negalite, aš daviau $5.
And the Yamadutas a little confused. Well, I don't know, what should we do? And
Jie madutai galvoja, ką čia dabar daryti.
so they went to the gate of the spiritual world.
Jie nuėjo prie dvasinio pasaulio vartų
They went to ask the Supreme Lord what to do.
ir paklausė Dievo, ką čia daryti dabar.
They said, well, he gave $5 to you, and he says that he doesn't have to go to hell because he gave you $5.
Jis davė $5 ir dėl to
And,
negali eiti į pragarą, ką daryti dabar.
So when the messengers came back from talking to the Lord,
Ir tas pašnekėjo su Dievu ir atnešė žinią, ką reikia daryti.
they had the $5 bill in their hand.
Jis sako, grąžinkite jam tos $5.
And God said, they said, what did God say?
Ką Dievas pasakė?
He said, give him his $5 back and tell him to go to hell.
Dievas pasakė, atiduokite jam tos $5 ir tegul eina į pragarą.
Tell him to go to hell. Give him his $5 back and tell him to go to hell. So, the fact is, if you're sincerely trying to be a devotee, that's a different thing, you see.
Faktas, jeigu nuoširdžiai žmogus bando būti atsidavusiu, tada jis yra.
If someone is trying to take advantage of some, verse or something, and they find to cheat.
Jeigu kas nors
Somebody has started, begin.
If someone is serious, the fact is, if anybody is seriously beginning this process, whatever progress they made is their eternal lesson.
Faktas, kad tas, kuris nuoširdžiai, kad ir pradeda šį procesą, visas progresas, kurį jis atlieka, tai yra
That's a
amžina nauda,
fact.
kuri
That
niekada
we know
nedings.
for a fact. Just like Bharata Maharaj, even though he became a deer, he was not in an ordinary position.
Net Bharata Maharadžas, kai tapo kitą gyvenimą elniu, tai nebuvo paprastas
He
elnius.
was able to associate with the sadhus in the forest as a deer, you see.
Nes tas elnias galėjo būti su sadu, su šventaisiais.
So,
We can know about the dog who was going with Shivananda Sen also.
what's that?
The dog with the Shivananda Sen.
Yeah, there's a dog in Shiva. And I was saying there's also a dog in Mayapur who used to come.
I do not know
Yeah.
about that, but
Yeah, there used to be a dog in Mayapur. He would come in the early days of our Mayapur temple. When all the devotees would go for prasadam, some dog would come in. Because dogs aren't allowed in the temple. Some dog would come sneaking in and offer his obeisances to the deities.
Majapūrė buvo toksai šuo, kad kai atsidavus išėjo valgyti prasadą, jisai prasprūsdavo
So-
ir nusilenkdavo dievybę.
He was actually a dog in Mayapur, so it's a very special thing to be a dog in Mayapur.
Būti šuniu Majapūrė yra ypatinga.
He was a devotee who had done some sin, and he had to take birth as a dog to overcome the reaction. But still, he's coming off obeisances in the dog's body to the deities.
Tai buvo kažkoks atsidavęs, kuris atliko kažkokias nuodėmės, bet vis viena galėjo atlikti savo tarnystę, nors būdama šuniu.
So, any other questions? I'll take Atma minute.
Aš turiu tokį klausimą, jeigu žmogus praktikavo bhakti jogą, jis ten turėjo šiokį tokį tikėjimą, mėgo kirtaną, bendraudavo su bhaktais ir taip atsitiko, kad jis nugyveno tokį, kaip čia pasakyti, dvasišką gyvenimą, bet taip jau nutiko, kad jis nepapuolė į dvasinį pasaulį, negrįžo gal pas Dievą. Tai ar sekantį gyvenimą, jeigu jis tokį turės kaip žmogaus kūną ar ne žmogaus kūną, ar jisai turės tokį patį skonį, kokį jisai nešėsi per tą gyvenimą? Nes sako Krišna, aš saugau tai, ką jis turi ir pasirūpinu to, ko jam trūksta. Tai ar jisai turės tokį patį skonį dvasiniam dalykam ir sekantį gyvenimą, kuris jį palaikys?
Gal išversti?
For example, there was a bhakti yogi who was leading this lifestyle till the end of his life. He's like kirtan, he participating, collaborating with devotees, and he was enjoying spiritual life, and he has some taste for it. But in some reasons, he just left his body and didn't attain the goal of life. So just imagine, let's imagine that he get another body in the next life. Did he have the same taste for spiritual activities, the same taste as he was having in a previous life? Because Krishna is saying that I preserve what we have and
whatever spiritual progress he has made is his eternal asset. That's a fact.
Kad ir kokią dvasinę pažangą jis padarė, tai yra amžinas jo turtas. Faktas.
Can never be taken away.
Niekada tai neteiks.
Every time you chant one round of japa, every time you take prasad, anytime you bow down, any devotional activity you do is your eternal asset, no matter what happens.
Bet kokią tikėjimo tarnystę, kurią tu padarai, tai yra amžinas tavo turtas. Nesvarbu, kas benutiktų.
So did that mean that if he, in a previous life, he was living a spiritual life in some level? So did that mean that he will continue living a spiritual life in the next life?
It depends. He may have some. If he didn't go back to God, he has some material desire still in his heart.
Jeigu žmogus praktikavo vieną gyvenimą ar kitą gyvenimą, jis taip pat praktikuos, tai priklauso. Jeigu jis negrįžo pas Dievą,
Krishna could also fulfill that material desire. He could take birth in the heavenly planets, for example.
Gali būti, kad jisai bus Krishna patenkintas, jo materialus troškimas, pavyzdžiui, gims rojinėse planetose.
And he also said that if somebody has made 2% advancement, that they can continue in the next level with the 2%.
Yeah.
Yra sakoma, kad žmogus 2%, pavyzdžiui, pažengė dvasiškai, tai nuo kito gyvenimo.
There's no hard and fast rule. Krishna is totally free to reciprocate with them according to Krishna's desire. There's not like some governmental agency that it's all going under the higher supervision. Krishna is ultimately up to Krishna through his material nature, of course, but it depends. It can go this way or that way. You could take birth as a Brahmin in a Brahmin family, in a devotee family. You can take birth in the heavenly kingdom. It depends what his inclination was as he was leaving his body. What was in his mind as he left the body? That last minute.
Tai Krishna gali įvairiai pasielgti ir tai labai priklauso nuo to, kokie buvo jo sąmonė mirties akimirka taip pat.
He could go back to Godhead also. If he's inclined, if his last thought is surrendering to Krishna, then he'll go back to Godhead. But if he had some desire to enjoy the material world, then he'll take birth again. Whatever the last thought is in his brain as he's leaving his body, that's where he goes. The air carries aromas. Your thought at the moment of death carries you to your next birth. Therefore we train ourselves to be Krishna conscious. Because death can come at any minute. I could die in the next 30 seconds. So I have to keep my mind fixed. I have no business except to fully surrender to Krishna. That's it. Finished. That's how we have to train ourselves. Always at every minute. I have nothing to do except fully surrender to Krishna, and that's it.
Neturiu kito pareigos, tik tai prisiminti Krishną.
Is that all right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, next question. The devotee in front of you. Yeah.
Sakoma, kai vaikas pradeda augti ir jisai natūraliai valgo, ten miega, tuštinasi ir auga. Tai, ir jam nereikia, jo negali pagreitinti su kažkokiom tai meliem jau augimo. Tai mano klausimas yra, ar šita analogija taip pat tinka ir dvasiniam kely. Mes vis tiek, čia kaip Prabhupada komentarė sakė, visi esam kaip vaikai ir augam palaipsniui, atlikdami savo sadhaną kasdieninį. Ir ar galima kažkaip pagreitinti savo tą augimą, kad iš karto užaugtum?
Nori išversti?
You want to answer this one?
Okay. There is saying that when you are a child, or you eating naturally and sleeping and just growing naturally, no one can pull you up that you can grow very fast. And is this example can we accept this example in spiritual life? For example, when we doing our spiritual sadhana, and it is like our eating, we nourishing ourselves, and we growing. But is there any way to grow faster than we can?
Oh yes, you can definitely get on the fast track, yeah.
Taip, dvasiniam gyvenime egzistuoja toksai fast track, ekspreso kelias.
First thing, you have to be initiated.
Pirma, reikia gauti iniciaciją.
If you're not initiated, you're not even really on the track yet, you know.
Nes jeigu neturi iniciacijos, dar
You're just thinking about getting on the track.
vis dar ruošiesi pradėti.
You got to take initiation from the bona fide spiritual master.
Reikia turėti iniciaciją iš bona fide dvasios.
And then you have to be in that mood that I now accept the orders of my spiritual master as my life and soul. That's it.
Tada turėti tokią nuotaiką, kad priimu mano dvasinių mokytojų nurodymus kaip mano gyvenimo siela.
That will put you on the fast track immediately.
Ir tai padės tau tobulėti maksimaliai greitai.
As Prabhupada himself said, one should take that was Prabhupada's instruction. One should take the order of the spiritual master as one's very life and soul. If you take that mood, you're on the fast track.
Tai Prabhupada mus mokė, kad jeigu priimi dvasinių mokytojų nurodymus kaip savo gyvenimo sielą, tai tobulėjai greitai.
And when you sleep, when you're not in that mood, you're on the slow track.
Ir jeigu nesi šioje nuotaikoje, tai lėtai tobulėjai.
So whenever you notice you're not in that mood, pray to Krishna, pray to Guru, you can get back on that track.
Ir kai tik pastebi, kad tu nesi tokiai nuotaikoje, melsk Krišnos ir mokytojo, kad grįžtų.
Prabhupada personally told me.
Prabhupada asmeniškai mane
He
mokė.
said, now you just qualify yourself to see Krishna face to face.
Kvalifikuok save matyti Dievą, veidas į veidą.
So how do you do that? By being totally sold out to your spiritual master.
Kaip tai daryti? Visiškai būt pasidavusi sielą savo dvasiniu.
That qualifies you to see Krishna face to face in due course.
Ir tai kvalifikuos tave matyti Krišną akis į akį.
Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me. My dear Lord Jagannath, Lord of the universe, please come to my vision.
Dangus viešpatė, visatos valdovė, ateik į mano viziją.
That vision is achieved by those who are totally sold out to their spiritual master.
Tokį regėjimą turi tie, kurie visiškai pasidavė savo dvasiniu.
That's what Prabhupada teaches.
Taip mus moko Šrila Prabhupada.
I'm not saying that because I'm a spiritual master.
Aš taip nesakau, nes esu dvasinis mokytojas.
I say that because I'm a disciple of Prabhupada and that's what he taught me.
Aš taip sakau, nes esu mokinys Prabhupados ir jisai mane taip mokė.
Okay. We have some questions now from the internet.
Iš interneto dar turim klausimą.
Well, actually, after this, then we'll wrap it up. How can I keep this is from Rose, one of my students on the internet. Rose is asking, how can I keep my thoughts from material things while I am with non-devotees such as family and friends? How can I be Krishna conscious when I'm with my mundane family and friends?
Kaip būti Krišnos sąmonėje, kada esu su savo draugais ir savo giminaičiais, kurie nepraktikuoja?
Well, the real thing is avoid their association as much as possible.
Geriausiai, kuo mažiau su jais būti.
That's Lord Chaitanya's instruction.
Tai yra viešpatės Čaitanijos
Sangat sanjayate kama. Now, what is that? Asat sanga tyag. That's right. Lord Chaitanya's first instruction is asat sanga tyag. Give up the association of non-devotees.
Tai pirmas viešpatės Čaitanijos nurodymas. Nebendrauti su neatsidavusiais.
So what should I do? Go live in the forest?
Ką dabar į mišką eit gyventi?
No, since you're associating with non-devotees.
Ne, kai bendrauji su neatsidavusiais.
Instead of taking their association, you give your association.
Vietoj to, kad imti iš jų bendravimą,
That will protect you.
Taip saugos tave.
Make your friends and family Krishna conscious.
Padaryk savo artimuosius Krišnos.
That's what my wife did.
Ta mano žmona padarė.
Her family was very much against her Krishna consciousness.
Jo šeima buvo labai prieš Krišnos.
But she was staunch in her determination and the whole family became Krishna conscious. She converted her family.
Ir dabar visi šeimos nariai yra Krišnos sąmoningi.
So in that way, you do have to be very staunch. You make your family members Krishna conscious. That's all.
Taigi, būkite ryžtingi.
Then you make all your friends and family members devotees. Then you can associate with as much as you want.
Ir visi bus jūsų artimieji atsidavusi ir galėsit bendrauti su jais kiek įmanoma daugiau.
But what if they don't want to be Krishna conscious?
O ką daryti, jeigu jie nenori būti Krišnos?
Like my brother Bob.
Kaip mano brolis Bobas.
He happens to live in the same city that I live in.
Jis gyvena tam pačiam mieste kaip ir aš.
And he bought a real nice house with a big acreage outside of town in the hill country.
Ir nusipirko už miesto labai nuostabų namą.
And he wanted me to come out and see his new house so he could show off his new, opulent house with a big acreage. He wanted to show off his big house.
Ir norėjo pasikviesti mane ir parodyti savo namą.
So I said, yeah, we'd love to come. Yeah, we'll come out and do a kirtan.
Ir sakau, o, su mielu noru ateisim kirtaną galėsim.
He said, can't we do something a little more serene?
O jis klausiau, negalim ką nors paprašiau.
So I didn't go. You see.
Taigi aš nevažiavau.
If he agreed to kirtan, I would have taken all the devotees because they have a nice kirtan, takes the prashadam, have a nice festival out there. But if he wasn't interested in kirtan, I'm not going. I'm not going to go.
Bet jeigu jis būtų sutikęs daryti kirtaną, tai būčiau daręs, jis atsidavus į krūvą paėmęs ir
And that way, you take charge.
Taigi jūs kontroliuokite.
When you're a devotee, you're the boss now. You see.
Jūs atsidavęs, jūs bosas.
You're the boss. Huh?
Doesn't it depend on the circumstances?
Bet ar tai nepriklauso nuo aplinkybių?
Well, maybe you're financially dependent, you're living with your parents, there's all kinds of circumstances.
Taip, yra daug įvairiausių aplinkybių, pavyzdžiui,
But
gyventi su tėvais.
the basic idea is the same. You have to apply it according to the situation.
Bet yra pagrindinė idėja, kurią reikėtų pritaikyti pagal laiką vietą
I mean,
aplinkybių.
if you're a teenager living at home with your parents and they're meat eaters, what are you supposed to do?
Ką daryti, jeigu esate paauglys, gyvena su tėvais, kurie valgo mėsą?
Just like I was an employee at MCI Corporation.
Kaip aš dirbau tokioj korporacijai
And I was an award-winning salesman.
ir aš pardavinėjau tenais,
So this is when I was a devotee, you see.
kai buvau atsidavęs.
So they had a big special dinner for all their stars, all their leading salespeople.
Ir aš ten buvau labai toks geras darbuotojas ir buvo tokiem geriem darbuotojam pietus.
And so I went there in the big fancy hotel, with all the way to a big fancy banquet,
Ir ten toks didžiulis hotelis buvo, ir ten labai viskas prabangu.
So everybody sat down with their meat and their,
Visi prisėdo prie savo mėsą valgyti.
And I had Gurmata pack me a lunch bag with some prasadam, and I pulled out my lunch bag and had prasadam from home.
Man Gurmataji prasadą pagamino ir aš įsitraukiau savo tokį paketėlį ir valgiau iš jo.
I brought my own prasadam in.
Savo prasadą atsinešiau.
So this way I didn't get contaminated, and I got my award. I got congratulated, I got my award. And the manager called me up, then a picture was taken, but I ate prasadam. So you have to be Krishna conscious. Don't give up your Krishna consciousness for some stupid nonsense family and friends. You've had millions of family and friends in millions of lifetimes, and where has these mundane family and friends gotten you another material body? You have to detach yourself from this family and friends business. It's skin disease. Actually, we've been family and friends we've been in this material world for so many lifetimes. We've been family and friends with every single living entity in the whole universe in some lifetime. That bush out there was my mother in a previous birth. You see? I mean, I'm not joking. We've been through every conceivable situation and an infinite number of births in the material world. And that mosquito was my father in a previous life. So, everybody's your family and friend, really. So you have to make your family and friends Krishna conscious, to be kind to them. So now we have a special thing. My wonderful disciple, Siddhama Prabhu from Kaliningrad, Russia, has translated my book, Truth Works, into Russian. And it's very nicely done, with very nice bound with color plates. So we have English for those of you who don't read Russian, and for those who don't read English or Russian, I don't know what we're going to do, but at least for those who read English or Russian, we have them available right here. And how much are they going for? 10 euros. Okay. Anybody who comes and gets one, I'll give you a written blessing in your book. So they're all here, and anybody who wants to come forward now can come forward and get their copy of Truth Works. This book is recommended by Hari Sari Prabhu, Prabhupada's personal servant, is a very good basic guidebook for how to become Krishna conscious.
Ir Haris Sauri Prabhupadas mokinys rekomenduoja šitą knygą kaip labai gerą pagrindą pradėti Krishnos sąmonę.
So we'll stop here, and we thank you all very, very much for attending this program tonight. I've been really delighted to be here with you all tonight, especially you, Prabhu. Very delighted to have you and your wife's association again. Thank you very much. Svashibo, Hare Krishna. Achila Bhaya.